Call the meeting to order. A moment of silent prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Mrs. Franks.
Mayor Kindle.
Present.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Present.
Councilman Jenny.
Here.
Councilwoman Pies.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki.
Here.
Councilwoman Williams.
Here.
Councilman Tucson.
Present.
Acting City Manager Szymanski.
Here.
City Attorney Wally.
Here. Okay, I need approval of minutes. I need a motion.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Councilwoman Sawicki.
I'll offer the motion to accept, receive, and file the regular city council meeting held February 23rd, 22, to receive and file the planning commission meeting held December 15th and March 2nd, 22, and to receive and file the library board meeting held January 20th, 22. Support.
Support by Councilwoman Constantino. Discussion.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
There was something in the library board minutes that I flagged that got my attention, and that was in the call to the public. It says, staff of the library is present in support of Kristen. Question was posed from the public regarding bonuses. How were bonuses determined? How come some received bonuses, some did not? Decision was made by city council. And so I was just curious about the decision made by city council and whether that's accurate. And I don't recall any discussion by city council.
Okay, those bonuses were given to full-time employees that followed the union contract, T-Poland. They were signing bonuses. Historically, the full-time staff has always got, along with the courts, the same wages and benefit packages that the union contracts had. And the union contracts were brought in front of the city council, and they were ratified by the union membership and ratified by the city council.
All right, so this dealt with the union
Yes,
contracts?
yes.
All right, because I was thinking this, I thought that the library handled their own stuff separately. So that's why I was, a little surprised to read this. Thank you.
Okay. Any clarification? Is there any further discussion?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Councilwoman Pies.
I just was going to refer to those minutes also. I was glad to see that there's work going on the Heritage Center in the minutes there. And I'm hoping that somehow some of the materials from Eastland that we've salvaged or collected can somehow be worked into that. And I was also glad to see that they'll be updating some library policies. And I hope everything gets up and running by summer once school's out to kids. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We also will be talking about developing a historical commission for the city of Harper Woods, which former Mayor Ken Pointer will be the chairperson for. And so as soon as I get the okay and everything, we will present that to city council. But we do not have a historical commission. And with the artifacts and stuff that we receive from Eastland, that's the best way for us to operate, is to be able to showcase those at some point in time when we do have a place to showcase the history of Harper Woods. And no better person than Ken Pointer and a few other people that has been here forever and a day to be able to be a part of a commission for historical value of Harper Woods. Okay, if there is no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, public comment on agenda items. Agenda items only. anyone that has any comments on agenda items? Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda, and I need a resolution.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Councilwoman Constantino?
I'll offer the resolution to approve the consent agenda items 1 and 2.
Support.
Support by Ms. Councilwoman Pies. Discussion. Roll call vote?
Councilwoman Constantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pies.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kendall.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
All right. Since there is no old business, we'll move on to new business and city manager report.
Okay, item G1, progress payment, Beaconsfield resurfacing project. Mayor and council, attached is a memorandum from the Superintendent of Public Works transmitting an invoice from the Michigan Department of Transportation for the city's portion of the Beaconsfield resurfacing project, Phase 1, Kingsville to Woodland. As you recall, this MDOT project required a match from the city, and this invoice represents a portion of that cost. I have reviewed this and concur with the recommendation that this invoice be approved. Mayor, a resolution is required.
Mayor, I'd like to,
Councilman Tucson?
I'd like to recommend an action by resolution to approve the payment of the Michigan Department of Transportation in the amount of $19,169.83 for the city's proportionate share of the Beaconsfield resurfacing project.
Support.
Support. I didn't, who? Councilwoman Pies. Okay, is there any discussion?
Madam Mayor?
Yes, Councilman
I'll ask
Jennings?
Bill, how far are we in payments?
Madam Mayor and Council, this is nearing the end. I just received an email a short while ago to reconcile the differences, and there should be one more payment coming for Phase 1.
Thank you.
Are there any further discussion?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
is there, how far, have they started breaking ground on that yet, right, for this part of it? Some of the little things.
Madam Mayor and Council, for Phase 2 of Beaconsfield, no, I just finished reviewing an 18-page document on the environmental impact of Phase 2 of Beaconsfield, seeing that there are none. I signed off on it. That will be forwarded to our engineers for submission to the state of Michigan, and then we can proceed with that.
So we can think about breaking ground when?
You know what, once the frost laws are gone out of effect, but to that point, they have not selected a contractor to do the milling and asphalt project. That will be going out for bids this month.
All right. I've just been hearing about this for so many years. Long.
It will happen.
Is there any further discussion? Roll call vote, Mr. Grant?
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pies.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kendall.
Yes.
Councilwoman Constantino.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
All right.
Okay, item number 2, G2, Milk River Principal and Interest. Mayor and council, attached is an invoice from Wayne County for the Milk River Drain Principal and Interest payments on the SRF program. It is recommended that this payment be approved. Mayor, a resolution is required.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, it says Councilwoman Pies.
I'll offer the resolution to approve payment in the amount of $1,015,628.12 to Wayne County for the Milk River Drain Principal and interest payments on the SRF program.
Support.
Support by Councilman Jennings. Any discussion?
Madam Mayor? I was wondering, how many payments, how often do we make these payments to the Milk River?
Principal and interest, we make 2 interest payments, 1 principal payment per year, and we have approximately 19 years to go on this, on the main bond issue. We just started paying the principal, and there was a piggyback completion overrun on the project where the cities involved had to bond council approved it. It was a $6 million overrun, and that is part of this payment as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
This was a big goal. I mean, when I saw this number, I was very surprised. I don't think we've ever paid this high of an amount to Milk River in the past. I'm curious about, I know we've talked a little bit about when the Eastland project gets going and we have less water that's going to be diverted into this system. Is that going to affect this payment, or is this just cut and dry because of the share between our cities and the other communities that are in this? I mean, is there any, does it get any adjustment?
Okay, those are two different issues. When the basins get built at Eastland, we will, at some point in time, have a study to see what impact that has on the system in general and if our rates can get adjusted at that point. This, however, is on debt. And what had happened is when this bond issue first came out, the city was in bad financial shape. And I want to say it was front-loaded with the interest payments coming out first and the principal payments coming out at the back end. Well, we're in the back end right now. And the principal payments are very high. You can expect a payment like this every year. And, you know, going forward, and we have to make sure that the stormwater fund is adequately financed for us to be able to pay this.
All right, and may I follow up? The one thing I looked for that I didn't see in the submission of this to council, which I have seen in the past, is, you know, we have adequate funds to cover this. And so I'm assuming that the city has budgeted this amount and will be budgeting this amount into the future.
Yes, we're budgeted. We have enough money for this year. Next year, I want, as a matter of fact, very soon, we're going to be taking up this matter with our drain attorney and the city attorney. We have litigation surrounding this and the fee structure in general. So that is going to be crossing your desks shortly, within a month or two.
Is the hope to bring this number down? Is that what the hope is for the litigation?
The hope is to have enough money to be able to make the principal and interest payments.
Of course.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Is there any further?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I'm wondering if the overrun, is this the one that has happened in the last few years? I remember there was some contention over there that it might go to court because St. Clair Shores, I know, was also not expecting the $6 million overrun. I'm wondering if this is the same.
Well,
thing.
here, kind of two different issues there. This overrun was caused mainly because of lack of maintenance over the years. And when the maintenance first started to resume, they found out that there were factors that they couldn't account for, such as soil was so moist that when they would build a foundation, it was sinking. So they had to fortify the foundation, and at the same time, expand one of the pump house buildings to accommodate the repairs on the pumps. There's 3 pumps, I believe, in the Milk River Station. One runs, one's on standby, and one's always getting repaired. And, you know, we're going through normal maintenance with this. So that's, yeah, we just have to make sure we keep up on the principal and interest payments.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, Councilwoman Williams.
Okay, City Manager, you said that we can look forward to having payments similar to this in the future each year. So it would be like this one, we got two principal and two interest payments at the same time.
Yeah, there's a main bond, and then there's a piggyback bond, the completion bond. And the completion bond has a principal requirement, the main bond has a principal requirement, both of the bonds have interest payments that are separate. This is just a combination of everything.
Are there any further questions?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
really quick, I know this seems like a big pill to swallow, but this actually helped us in those storms in June, where we might have had some localized flooding, but we didn't flood like the Grosse Points. We had an outlet to it, it worked well. This was a project that was well overdue. I mean, the pipe was coming in from the lake to make the Milk River actually function as a river that was oval and full of zebra mussels, and they couldn't even get divers down in it. So the project was huge. It's gonna take a while to pay it off, but it saved us, I mean, 95% of the houses in Grosse Pointe Park flooded with 6 to 7 feet of water in the basement. We didn't have that. We had an outlet, so it's a big pill, but I mean, we're already in Grosse Pointe Park up to over $1 million just in overtime, debris removal, that kind of thing. So in the long run of things, it's a great investment.
Thank you.
And not only that too, we also had the Tory.
Well, Tory Road just pumps it there.
Right,
That's
that
our,
helps.
it does, but that's our outlet to the lake. That
Yes.
either can hold it and repurpose it back into the system, or it can treat it and dump it down the Milk River Canal, which it did that day. So,
Yeah.
yes.
So those are two things that have saved us from excessive flooding, as it was on several other levels. My objection, if a lot of you know, to Milk River was for our representation, and I still object to that. But the Milk River is a necessary entity for us. I just don't like the fact that we only get to vote for ourselves every 2 years, and somebody else is voting for us. And that is something that I have asked our senator and our legislator to find out and figure out why we only have 0.5% of representation when we pay a large portion of that Milk River. But Milk River, under no circumstances, is a necessary part for us, but I just didn't like the representation. So those of you who've been with me here in the City Council understands that's why through the years I have objected to us paying for Milk River because I wanted representation. Taxation without representation just galls at my nerves. So, but anyway, but we need Milk River. It just proved it last June when we had all the flooding. We dodged a real bullet. All right, roll call vote.
Councilwoman Pies.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki. Yes. Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Mayor and council, that concludes the city manager's report.
Okay. Call the audience, and you have 3 minutes. Step to the mic and identify yourself.
Yes, my name is Roger Kraft. I live at 21401 Bournemouth. And recently, you voted on the month February for Black History. Well,
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, you can't have it. You can't have it for one reason. That's my month. I've been celebrating that month for 62 years. And here's my bona fide right here. There's my birth certificate. February 13th, 11:45 p.m., I was born at Hartford Hospital. I've been celebrating February for 62 years, like I said. And I wrote a letter to the NAACP, and I told them, I said, why don't you pick 2 other months that would have been better and a lot more significant? Martin Luther King's birthday month or Rosa Parks' birthday month. Never sent me a response. That's the first thing I got. The second thing I got is recently I called in because there was a truck on the other side of my apartment lot and a broken window. One Grosse Pointe police car came, 2 Hartford boys parked in the street. Well, we're standing there and we see a truck turn the corner from Tyrone onto Bournemouth. He floored his truck. By the time he passed us, he was doing 75 miles an hour. He flew through the stop sign, and I asked the guy, police officer, I said, aren't you going to do anything? And he said, we can't. And I said, what the heck are you talking about? You can't. You're not gonna go after the guy? We're on orders not to do anything like that. Don't make waves. And I went, what do you mean, don't make waves? I said, that's part of the revenue in the city. You just talked about $1 million Milk River. If you don't start doing the job and giving tickets, that's why we see people going up and down the street. On my street alone, in 1 month, you could probably make over $50,000 in revenue with tickets. That's the first thing. The second thing is, what is a public safety officer? I was one of those when I was in 5th grade, when I used to have my arms like this with a belt on, helping the cross lady. We, in our charter, it says we have to have a police chief and then police officers. And then, when you make the police, get a police chief, it's supposed to be a captain. And if we don't have a captain at the time, the lieutenant is supposed to take a test to become a captain, then he is promoted. If you do not have a captain and he cannot pass the test, then you are supposed to pick the most eligible person to become a police chief, not a public safety officer. Maybe this is why nothing's getting done. The second thing I already said about the revenue. Now the next thing, and don't blame that man over there, but he's a godsend to this city.
That's right.
You guys passed a thing about the water. You wanted it weekly. But what's going on? This month bill I got, what did it say? Actual, estimated, 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 actual, actual. I'm going, what the heck is this? When you asked us to vote on it, you said we're going to have a weekly bill that's going to be an actual bill every month. You passed it, we didn't have the bond for it, it fell through. He's doing the best he can because he can't do anything without the money for it. So what I'm telling you now is get it fixed or go back to the old system, because I'm getting tired of it. Because you get a bill and it says, 1 month it says $52.97 and it says actual estimated. Well, I told you what it said this time. I'm just getting fed up. Because if you want, I can bring the bills back since we've been here, since it's been Gratiot Township. I got every month. Thank you.
All right.
Good evening. My name is Elizabeth Campion. I live at 20514 Hunt Club. I'm also here as the president of the Harper Woods Public Library Board of Trustees. Andrew Carnegie once said that a library outranks any other one thing a community can do to benefit its people. It is a never-failing spring in the desert. We often think of the library as just a place where you can go and get books, maybe movies, but it is so much more. It provides reliable information on almost any topic. It provides access to resources when people don't have resources of their own. The library is there. It provides literacy for all ages, whether it's someone learning English as a second language or for our children as they're first learning their words. It provides social connections through story time for those small children. It also provides social connections for senior citizens who play cards weekly at the library because it's a safe, free place for them. But the library can't fully serve the community when half the building is unavailable for now over 8 months and counting. The horrific flood that you guys were discussing earlier, and I realize that the Milk River saved a lot of our homes, but it didn't save the library. And the library, the entire lower level of the library was damaged. And, it's my understanding that at this time, the bid process is just getting started. I don't understand why it has taken this long to move us to this step. And I'm deeply concerned that Harper Woods is not serving the community well by ignoring the need for a fully functioning library. The library staff themselves have done an amazing job throughout this, especially during the pandemic as well. They provided make and take kits so that children can come and get activities, adults as well, take them home and do them in lieu of programming in the library. They've done Zoom book clubs. They have had guest speakers through Zoom and other virtual programs. They have all worked to be creative, to be innovative, to overcome this really difficult situation. But they still need the library to be restored. So I urge you all to please work toward making this happen as fast as possible. Thank you.
John, would you answer that?
Sure. add a few comments to that as we're sitting here right now, we are working with FEMA, and they have done a visit just about a week ago. This has been a long, protracted, I want to say, situation. We have done preliminary work to fix the library and to make sure that the problem does not reappear again. But the extent of the damage in the library was pretty close to $500,000. And we're looking at getting insurance reimbursements, negotiating with them, negotiating with FEMA, and we're having a great deal of success. So the bid process that you're talking about, the entire library had to be scoped out so that contractors could bid on the same type of work. That's what's going on now. And the extent of the damage in the library was so extensive that the whole bidding process was very hard, let alone the revenue. So you're going to see a lot of action happening, and hopefully we're going to get it all restored by the summertime. That's what we're looking at, but we're going through a very slow process with FEMA as we're speaking.
Restored as in rebuilt, you mean?
Refurbished.
Oh, then done by this summer.
Yeah.
That'd be
Well,
fast.
I'm saying if everything goes good, here's what we're finding out. Crews that would do the work, they can't commit to the jobs because they don't have a workforce. And supplies are being held up and who knows where. So when contractors have to bid on the job, they have to make sure that they have the equipment, they have the supplies, and they have the manpower. And that's been a challenge for some of these contractors. But we're trying the best that we can.
And I want you to understand specifically that it's not a holdup of us to prevent the library from being repaired. As John has said, it is some things that's not in our control. And we don't have the money to put $500,000 down there. We have to rely on FEMA and our insurance company to do what they need to do. And as you know, anything that has happened during this pandemic, it has been a slow roll for trying to get anything done. But it is no way, no shape, no form that any of us would want or slow down anything for the library.
May I respond? I'm sorry if it sounded like I was laying blame. I'm not. I do understand that it is a slow process. We are just concerned, and we felt like it would be a good idea for me to come and just put that in front of everybody's eyes one more time.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to make sure that we're clearly on the same page. We all are looking forward to the library being back open. I enjoy the library just like everyone else, and I'm sorry, every time I think about it and it's not there, it pains me. But as Bill can tell you also, as John has spoken, we're trying to rectify it so what happened does not happen again. And we're trying to make sure that that part of it doesn't happen at the library once again. So we have to take extra measures to make that happen. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Mr. Hakeem.
Larry Hakeem, Little Stone Road, across the river. I'd like to speak to you for a minute if you have time after the meeting. I appreciate what you had to say. Unlike so many of you that were able to dodge the bullet of the floods in June, my basement didn't dodge any. And Bill, we got to talk. I have a question as to how it all works with the Milk River and the flood and the drainage. But my next door neighbor's house floods if, there's 7 seconds of rain. We had that torrential, I've never had a flood. 40 years of homeownership, never had a homeowner claim. June we got buried. My basement was lost, and my next door neighbor began to drop. I don't know how this works. It's not fair. Anyway, I want kudos to the city council and and to the mayor that Eastland redevelopment is finally physically, visually happening for any of you that haven't noticed or haven't seen. You can't see anything from 8 Mile. If you got really good tires, really good shocks, real good friends with the people that belt tire, then take a shot down to DMV behind there on that Eastland Drive, and you'll see targets down. I was really excited to make that drive and see that. It's been a lot of years coming, and a lot of hard work on behalf of the council, the mayor, and all those involved. And I'm so excited for that to happen. Real quick question, you mentioned the pieces of artifact out of there that discussing the historical project and the committee commission. Just hope that, I'm sure he does, that former Mayor Pointer understands the expense of creating the proper building and scenario where you can house historical artifacts. And as much as I'd love to write a check to do that, you'd better see us get the library done first. But that being said, it's great to have the mouse and the elephant, all that good stuff put someplace. But man, the price of that stuff is insane because of the temperature and the water and the management of the building. That is huge. It's not like building an extra garage to put the stuff in. I went through that once before with a different city. The mayor was supposed to announce at the last meeting, which she was unable to attend, which I was hoping we'd hear something tonight, as to the final contenders or members on the newly formed committees and commissions that were to be done. I haven't heard anything on that, and if I go home without an answer to my wife whether she made it onto this one committee, and I've got to come sleep at somebody's house tonight. So.
You'll hear about that very soon.
Okay, good. I mean, we've been
We will be
told
doing
tonight is
interviews
tonight,
with
so we're just waiting to hear on that one. That was the only other thing I wanted to hear. One other question, I don't know, the parks, we have a park director, she's not here. I'm not sure, but just an anecdote, my little pet project. Solitaire Park, I really appreciate everything we're doing so far, and to making it dog friendly, and thank you for the bags, it's a wonderful thing. We need to get some garbage cans. There's 2 garbage cans for that park that are both inside the gazebos where the picnic tables are. And the sign, as big as that American flag, says no dogs in the food area. Well, you can't throw your doggy bag away without going in there, because that's where the garbage can is. Quick fix, we need to put a couple cans somewhere on the walk at the entrance to the walk or the exit.
We have that handled because we received garbage can from Eastland. So we will be putting all those
Exactly what I
out
was referring
and
to.
taking care of it.
Put one by the old folks home on the end entrance and 1 or 2 at the beginning. So, because you know, when you go in there and throw a bag away, you're gonna have somebody going, hey, you see the sign? I think that's all. So
We got it.
Bag home with you. I think that's it, but again, I am so excited about Eastland, and my next excitement's gonna be Poupard, so I can't wait to get rolling on that. That's gonna be a fun thing. And that's all I got.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Yeah.
Sorry I spoke out of turn last time, I'm not used to this. My name's Dawn Gross, 21432 Severn Road. I had a quick question about recycling. When we moved in, the recycling had stopped, the regular, you guys picking up recycling, I mean. And so I was curious if there was a hazardous waste day where you could take your computers and stuff, if you did that. And if not, if you guys made recommendations to the citizens of the city of where we could go or how we can handle that.
I would let Councilwoman Page or Councilwoman Sawicki answer those 2 questions because they are the ones who have been following up with the recycling.
Thanks. I spoke, Councilman Sawicki wasn't able to join me at last minute, but we spoke with someone whose name I can't remember right contracts with cities and helps them set up recycling services. And we had talked with him, and we had hoped to speak again in March. I haven't been in touch with him yet. And it was really at a point where we probably have to make a meeting for some of us to sit and talk with. So that's something that's slow moving, but still on the horizon. As far as hazardous waste, we would have it here on occasion, I think the points would, but right now the county has provided cities like Harper Woods with vouchers to take our hazardous waste to a facility in Livonia. So you can pick up a voucher here at the front desk at City Hall and take all of your stuff over there and show them the voucher, and they take everything. We recently took a couple of tubs of like old computers, cable lines, stuff going back years, and they were just happy to take
So we
it.
just come here and get the voucher.
Get the voucher. The program was supposed to expire, and I talked to somebody over in Livonia at that center, and she said that it was had been extended through March, and she thought that perhaps the county was going to renew the program, but she wasn't sure.
How do we get a for sure answer on that?
Probably call the facility when you pick up the voucher.
Okay, okay. All right, good, thank you.
Councilwoman Zwicky, you had nothing
Yes,
to add?
and no, that's pretty
Okay.
comprehensive.
All right. Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to speak? Mr. Schoenberg?
Good evening, everybody. Ross Common, 19159, also Woodcrest, 18706 for years. I was born in Detroit in 51 and moved here in April of 52. So, been here ever since, basically. Couple of questions. First of all, to the historical deal, hopefully we're going to get the hippo and the lion, and actually, they should do well, like either in front of here or in front of the library, because originally they were outside before it went inside for all those years, okay? Second of all, the asphalt. When they're doing Beaconsfield, I'm wondering why, I live on Ross Common, and there's a section that they went up to when they did Beaconsfield, but there's another section of asphalt that's falling apart. It's like maybe a house or two, or something like that, going into Ross Common towards Kelly, and it's falling apart. And I don't know why they just didn't do that when they did the project. I don't know why they aren't doing that to all of them, you know, that have that, you know, because I think it was done, the last time it was done was when we had Beaconsfield done the last time they put it in there, okay? Oh, if you go down Woodcrest or Woodland and all roads where they put in the so-called speed bumps, they're gone. Because when we plowed, we took them out, okay? My suggestion is, and I've said it to Bill a couple of times, go over into Detroit, cross Kelly Road, on any one of the streets over there. And what they did is they cut into the cement and they made humps, not bumps. So when it's plowed, the plow slides up and down, not, okay? And that's what we need to look at. And like he said, it's getting worse with these cars racing up and down the streets. And we need to have something. The police officers can't always be there, but at the same time, Detroit has done a really, if I go down Crusade, they got all 5 of them down there. So even between the stop signs, you gotta slow down to go up, or otherwise you're going everywhere. And like I said, it's just a hump, not a bump. And like I said, you slide up and down because they've plowed those. Detroit, you know, hires the plow dump trucks, because it really hasn't been all that bad. But we need something that slides up and down, not something that comes up and, because that's what those bumps were. And they were effective during the summer, but after that, like I said, they got taken out. And then I got another couple issues I'll talk to the officer over there with, that's happening up on Kelly Road. Thank you very much.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak in the audience? David Callis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, City Council. Welcome back, Mr. Jennings. Nice to see you behind there again. This is my first live meeting I've attended since November 1st. Not second, but the 1st. And I've really been staying silent with this council for a reason. I'd like to touch on a couple things the residents said first. With the officers not being allowed to do their job. When 8 Mile was under construction, okay, I was talking to an officer no longer with us on the phone. And he said, well, I'm in a Dave, I got this guy flying 60 down the construction zone on Bergen. I said, okay. So he must have rolled his window down or something because I was on the seat, I assume, to be heard. And the officer yelled at the guy saying, this is a construction zone. The speed limit is 40. Now, this gentleman looked at this officer and, excuse my French, said, what the are you going to do about it? Now, that gentleman was not pulled over. And I was also told that there were reasons that the officers were not pulling over people, which has seemed to have happened since, I'd say, since the protest came in this town. I spoke to you on the phone about a couple things about your concerns with the roads and stuff. You know, Beaconsfield, they park on it all the time. It's seen. We had a dude who parked on his front grass for 3 days in the snow. I had a bag of trash out in the middle of Beaconsfield yesterday, and I went out to go grab it, all right? And these drivers see I'm coming out, right? Well, 2 people were kind enough to go on the side, but the next 3 idiots, oh no, they just had to roll right over it, blowing trash all over the place. And I know that, you know, we have a lot of revenue to be made, and especially in our ordinances. But, you know, with being short-staffed, we're putting so much weight on our officers. And I know I personally offered to do things free if I had the authorization to do it with ordinances, but I've never gotten any kind of sincere response on it. And if we need the help, what I don't understand is this council wants residents to get involved. And it seems like anything I try to get involved in is taboo. And I don't understand that. I even wrote for the subcommittee that's coming up for, that the council wanted for the marijuana stores that are coming in town. Well, I emailed 3 times on it at, you know, different intervals. And all I really expected was your response saying, well, you know, Dave, we're working on it, or we're doing this, we're doing that. But per normal, I gave nothing. So, just like many things I bring to this council, you guys didn't answer. I've been cut off at the 3-minute time limit when others haven't. Happens all the time. So I decided to start emailing. That's twice as worse. I don't get answers. And you and I talked on the phone. I think you're more aware of things that you didn't know before. And it bothers me when I run one social media group in this town. One. And there are 4 others that are popular. And a post was done in our group. Well, we have some obsessed individuals who like to take pictures of those and put them on other groups. Now, I'm not going to get into the reasons why, because I think we need to have a discussion, which I've asked you several times to do. It ended up getting to the point where people are actually sitting there still making comments who are neighbors of this council, talking bad and down about residents. One of them meaning this whole stupid thing that's going on with this grant, that some people in this room have no idea what is going but sure have had their opinion, to the point where they were saying that I get preferred treatment in this town. I have lived here for 56 years. Not one person on this council or neighbor on Facebook have I chastised, put down, harassed, turned people against. You have not had threats to your home. You have not had threats to your dog. You have not had threats to your personal. I have. Okay, so the next one that I want to go real quick, the water bill. The water billing, as you know, when that first came out, it was agreed, but it was only supposed to be 1 year. And this was way pre-COVID, okay? So at the time it came out, we were 90% done. And we were told it was only going to last 1 year. And after being 90% done, the switch would be flipped for annual, actual readings every month. Now, a lot of residents and new people coming in, you know, they get the $52 estimate, then you get the next one, but we got some people get $800, $900 bills on the actual. So I do explain this often to them, but my question is the last time we had this discussion, we knew the water districts were different. All the water districts are 90% done. All we're waiting for is the vacant homes and the people who did not call back DPW. And this billing isn't on DPW, it's on us. And it's really hard for a lot of people who don't have money in this town to budget for the water when they don't understand the billing. And this is something we've been going on for months, so I just want to know why, if the districts are 90% done, and all we're waiting for is empty homes, that we can't go on the actual billing, which we were promised. And that's about it. Thank you.
Bill, you want to address that?
Yeah, I can. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
All right.
You know what, presently, maybe that 9% figure came out, and that was referring to one of the 3 districts. We do have 3 separate districts. So, yeah, one district is over 90% complete. It might be as much as 95, 97% complete now. Prior to COVID, we were installing 875 meters in-house per year. When COVID came along, the regulations came out that we were not allowed to enter homes, and we had to pivot forward and reach out to all the residents that we had previously scheduled appointments to, and not cancel them, but tamp them down and say we will get back to you when the ban so much has been lifted. To that point, we have revisited this, and we are back in the business of installing meters to get all the districts done. Some of the districts have commercial meters in them, and to get the most bang for our buck, to install a 1.5-inch commercial Orion auto read meter would be about $2,500. For that same $2,500, we can purchase approximately 10 meters for residential homes. So to make the best use of our resources, we're moving in the direction of doing the residential homes first. To that point, we've got about 640 more. Well, actually, I just did the math. I think we got 415 residential homes to do. We've got about 175 commercial properties, 150. And we have to report to the state of Michigan during COVID and the following years, how many homes have the water service discontinued. At the onset of this 2 years ago, we had about 150 homes where the water service was disconnected or shut off for a variety of reasons. To that point, that number is still kind of hovering around the same, but we've started additional mailings to homes, like with the second and third request to please contact our department and schedule an upgrade of your water meter. Some folks are reluctant to do that, but we take all the necessary safety precautions when we go in the homes. We wear masks, we wear gloves, we cover our boots, and we offer the same thing to the residents. If they need a mask, we'll give them a mask. But to that point, what we're doing, we're still doing safely. And you know what, I can't get into the mind of why folks don't necessarily want to let us in to do this, but we are reaching out. There is a little caveat in there now that the water shut-off limitations have been lifted. We do have, by virtue of the ordinance, the authority to shut water off for people that are non-compliant or don't respond to us. But that to me seems somewhat heavy-handed. I would rather have folks reach out to us and we can explain what we're doing and why we're doing it and the benefits for them and the city to go to a monthly meter reading. So I mean, this hasn't gone away, it hasn't just disappeared. It's something that we continuously work on to make happen.
If I may, is there only one water precinct 90% done? Because the reason why I asked council is that we would guarantee as a water district was done, that we would be fixed actual. That's the only what I was asking about.
You can speak to Bill afterwards if Bill has time.
Madam Mayor, I have a few comments to make too, just for clarity. More times than not on a big bill, what you find out when you look at it in detail is lots of people did not pay their water bills during COVID because the city could not shut off the water. And these are not water charges, these are penalty charges for lack of payment. We have referred time and time again lots of our residents to assistance programs to help with subsidies on their water bills. And oftentimes what has happened is they will keep the terms and conditions of their contract, let's say with the RAP program, which is working out very well for people that maintain their part of the bargain. Lots of people will maybe maintain for 2 or 3 months and then drop from the program, and then they're dropped from RAP. And then they'll move out of the community. And we're stuck with a bill, and we have to go through a delinquent tax collection process. So it's kind of like a dog chasing its tail. And because of COVID's changed everything. Like Bill was saying, contractors couldn't come into a house. The DPW couldn't come into the house. And if somebody had a leak, if somebody had even a bad toilet, we couldn't go in there to even tell what the problem was. So all of this now, as Bill has stated, because now we can give people high water consumption tags with a threat of a shutoff. And now they know that they have to pay the bill. So there is a concern, and City Hall is always willing to work with people. We're always willing to work with people. So, I mean, that's, we got to compare apples with apples here.
Okay, is there anyone else with a comment?
Madam
Mr.
Mayor.
Goodall.
Can I say one thing after, please? Just one more thing?
No,
It's really important.
no.
With regard to this water bill business, and I mentioned before, is the penalty charges of 10% a month are really, I have a real ethical problem with that. That interest rate compounded is over 120% a year. You know, you think credit cards are bad at 18, 24% per year, but to charge 10% penalty per month on water bills, I have a really ethical problem with that. If you want to call it loan sharking, loan sharking is kind of mild compared to some of these charges. So if you just miss one water bill after a year, you owe about 3 times the amount of the original water bill. I mean, it used to be 10% per quarter, but 10%, so it's 10% per month compounded monthly. And that is, to me, excessive. And I think it does not speak well for the moral character of the city to have those kind of penalties. Thank you very much.
Good evening. This is my first time speaking at a council meeting, so thank you for the opportunity. My name is Kay Smith-Plain. I reside on Damon Street, 20015. I just had a couple questions, and I guess this is the place to ask them. I'm sorry.
Talk to the council.
Oh, yes. And when I looked at the questions, probably for this gentleman, everybody keeps calling Bill. I don't know who anybody really is, but it was just about the water bill. I wanted to know, maybe 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, someone came out, went in the basement, put something, upgraded the meter, did something so that they could read from outside, if I understand that correctly. Is that the upgrade that everyone is talking about that we're waiting on? So does that mean mine has been completed? Or is there something else that is going on now?
Bill?
No, you've been upgraded to an Orion already.
So I haven't, okay, I just want to clarify that. And I wanted to, like this gentleman, say, yeah, I appreciate that Harper Woods wasn't hit as hard as Grosse Pointe, but on Damon, we were certainly hit really hard. And I had never seen anything like it. I paid a lot of money when I first moved here to get my basement waterproofed, and apparently that wasn't enough. So at some other time, maybe specifically speaking with someone, I too can get some clarification about what else I might be able to do or what I need to do as a resident that can kind of preclude that from happening. I've had it happen twice in the 9 years that I resided here. So that was that. And I had another question too. I think that was it. But I do appreciate this opportunity. I'm glad we have these meetings and have an opportunity to speak up and hear everyone and that we're allowed to be heard. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you. No, I just want to know why. About a month and a half ago, I called, it was about 11:30 at night, I called to the non-emergency number, and I said, I need to report my car because I can't start it, it's going to be in the street overnight. Well, she said, we don't do that anymore, and I said, what? I go, what are you talking about? I said, all I got to do is write my license number and then make them out of my car. She said, well, what you got to do is you got to come down and get a 10-day parking pass. And I said, first, how am I supposed to get there when my car won't start? I don't need 10 days, I just need it overnight. So did we discontinue that? Because that's been going on since I was 10 years old. You call in and you give it, and they write it, and if a police officer comes to your car, he or she will call it in, and then it'll be on record, no, they're okay to park there overnight. So I'm just wondering.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
They did eliminate the list, as we used to call it, for out-of-town visitors. We would allow that, we would keep a list of a dispatch. We did away with that probably a year ago. And we've gone strictly to parking permits. In your case, you probably could have got a supervisor to sign off on it saying that because your car was broke down, we could have allowed that for the night.
Okay.
But we get so many complaints about on-street parkers that we had to implement some stricter rules.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in the audience? Thank you. We will move on to Cheryl Constantino for call to council.
I have some concerns about garbage, and I've been getting a lot of complaints. Last summer, we had so much garbage around, even by the freeway. The ramps were really bad by the entrance and exit ramps, and it just really makes our community look bad when we have that kind of garbage all over the place. And it's getting to be spring, and I've already started noticing some garbage around. And so I wanted to see what was our plan for handling it this year, because we really just can't go that way. We can't have that kind of thing happening here. We're going to look like we're ghetto, and I don't want to do that. I don't want Harper Woods to be that.
So everybody needs to do their part. And we will have a cleanup project, but that's to be announced at a later date when all things are put together.
We need an ongoing way to clean up garbage. Back in the day, we used to have a program with the judge where they would have community service people pick up the garbage, and
that could be fine, Cheryl. That's something that we can discuss. That is also something that we need to have an employee or someone to be able to monitor the community service people. So that is a project that we need to, not just throw out, but be able to work with before we say that this is what we're doing. But right now, as I said, we're working on cleanup and even ordinance. Everyone will get a notice, and we will begin from there. but the best thing we all can do is do our part. When you see trash, pick it up. I mean, you know, I know it's not your trash necessarily, but in order to beautify and keep our city beautified, then we all may have to put in a little bit more effort. So we can't expect somebody else to come and rescue us. We need to rescue ourselves. Are you through? Mr. Tucson, Councilman Tucson.
Councilman Tucson, please don't make that mistake anymore. Next. No, I'll pass.
You have nothing?
No.
Okay. Councilwoman Sawicki?
Yes, first of all, I wanted to mention that I was very excited about some of the programs that the library is offering. And if you haven't checked out what the library is offering, make a point of getting in there. I was pleasantly surprised. I went over because they're doing a special art program, and it's a pickup of, you know, an art thing. They're going to have a display of pictures that people have painted for March. I think it's if you grab up your their little kit, then you can bring your picture back at the end of the month. They're going to have a little display of all the pictures that people have done. It just sounds like such a fun community project. They also have something going on for Spice of the Month Club, which is, you know, you can get a little packet of spice and all different kinds of recipes on how to use it. It's just a fun community kind of event. I just want to throw this out to the librarians present. On the web page, because I went on there to see if there was anything described about these, you know, projects, and I really couldn't find anything where it explains these things that are going on at the library. So, you know, I wanted to direct people to the library's website to see about some of these programs, and I couldn't find them there. So that might be something to consider. In addition to that, I'm glad that Mr. Kadat pointed out the issue with the funding or the billing and charges for the water, because I think the compounded charges do make it hard for anyone to get out from underneath that. I know that when I was very young and, you know, just got my first credit card, and, you know, the enthusiasm of that moment. Rack up your bills a little bit, you got that 18% interest rate or whatever they're charging these days. It makes it very difficult to pay off the bills. And so I really think the city needs to examine that again and see if that is the most equitable thing to do for residents that are, and I know the city is working with people, but whether that's the best approach, that 10% of compounded does get to be very difficult. And so, you know, I'll just mention that. The other thing that I have a great deal of concern about is the continued problem with drivers. I've mentioned it in the past several times. A few residents have mentioned it recently. I don't know what it's going to take. You know, we don't want the police to be racing down our streets, and I know that there's, you know, an issue of not having high-speed chases going on in Harper Woods either. But something has to happen, because people are disrespecting our community in such a way that it's dangerous. You know, I'm still having that issue. I've got a stop sign in front of my house, and I've watched people not even bother to slow down. I'm waiting for the crash, because it's going to happen. I have personally witnessed people going through the red lights. I mean, I'm not talking about, you know, a yellow turning into red. I'm talking about everybody stopped at a light, and along comes Bozo, who just drives right through the reds. You know, no care whatsoever about stopping. He might look to see if there's a police officer around, but I don't think that's even a consideration. There are some people who have it in their head that laws don't apply to them. And unfortunately, a lot of these people something has to happen that's gonna stop that. So my thought is, you stop that person and you don't ask questions, you take their keys. You confiscate their vehicle. They don't have the right to drive because they don't know how to use the drive. They don't know how to drive. You know, force them to go back to school and learn something before they get behind the wheel. Because like when I was a young driver, my father said something to me that stuck with me all of these years. He said, you are behind the wheel of something that could kill someone. You've got, at the time, 2,000 pounds of steel. And if you can't control that vehicle, you're going to kill somebody. And we have people out there behind the wheel who don't give a care about any other person that's in that vicinity. And I don't know what it's going to take, but something has to happen to make that stop, because it's a great concern. And as summer approaches, we've got kids out there. You know, I mean, you know what my feeling is. That's it.
Councilwoman Cadex.
Thank you. Again, it's going to be a few minutes. Regarding the recycling, if you'd like to talk to me afterwards, and I'll give you my contact, my email and everything. But the person I talked with, I looked it up, is Jim Frey, F-R-E-Y. He's the CEO of Resource Recycling Systems. So I've been in touch with him. He was referred to us by his wife's cousin, who's a Harper Woods resident. So he reached out to us at first. So we'll be following up again with him. Today I attended a Zoom meeting, or the Municipal League Live with the League. Every other Monday they've got an hour-long discussion where you find out what's going on in the state, often with regard to legislation. So there's a couple of municipal finance things happening that I hope sometime this year can offer the city some, let us keep some more revenue, if you will, or some money. There's a House of Representatives, HB 5054, that would provide $1.15 billion in state general fund resources that will provide direct assistance to municipalities to help pay down our municipal pension debt. So 900 million of that will utilize to get all pensions that are funded at less than 60% up to at least 60%, if not over. So hopefully that's something we'll...
That's big. We got our eye on that one.
Yeah.
Yes,
So this would help us out like enormously, just enormously. Also, they're looking at the Senate Bill 783 and 784, which is a disabled vets property exemption. The state has been, municipalities have been offering that to disabled vets since 2013, when it became a law. So disabled vets get the benefit of not having to pay property taxes. And the city essentially doesn't get any revenue from that. So this bill is hoping to change that, to turn it into a homestead property tax credit, and have the state actually reimburse us for the money that we're losing on that, or that we're not getting. So that's another thing that could help us keep some revenue in the city. And very informally right now, they were working on a definition of what is a nonprofit. As you may know, nonprofits also do not pay property taxes here in the city. And I looked it up 2 or 3 years ago. I think we actually have like over 140 nonprofits in the city.
Yeah, we're affected by all of that.
Yeah, so they don't pay property taxes. So when we think about not having enough money, these are all things to keep in mind. So, moving on from there, they're also looking at Senate Bill 538, which is regarding automated delivery devices. This is something I came to council about before I was on council, maybe like 8 or 9 years ago. Had been reading some story about how Amazon would use drones to make deliveries and stuff, and I came here wanting an ordinance against drones, and I didn't get it. But at least at that time, the FCC, I think, had made some regulations. Well, here we are now with a Senate bill, but the Senate bill, if it passes, it would preempt local governments from regulating these services. So me wanting to not have Amazon drones overhead won't mean a damn thing, because the state will just override anything here that the city wants for its residents. So we're looking at that right now. And some of the redistricting maps are still being held up as Court of Appeals. You know, all know that we've got new state house maps, new Senate maps, new congressional district maps. And there are some challenges right now about what constitutes a group of interests, if you will. So, but short thing, just FYI, is our new House district will be changing, so it will now include St. Clair Shores up to 12 Mile, all of Harper Woods, and part of Detroit going through part of East English Village. So currently, it's just here in Wayne County with us and Grosse Pointe and part of Detroit, so that's all going to be changing to that. And our Senate map is Looney Tunes. It has changed. It now goes through 3 counties. There's us in Wayne County. It will go up along the lake through Macomb County and through St. Clair County. So it will go here from urban, if you will, through suburban, and then through Agriculture County north of New Baltimore. And then it goes east, and it will, our Senate district will include Harson's Island. So let's hope for some representation coming on, because I kind of get it. Good luck if we get it. So, and the water billing going to monthly. If I recall correctly, that was to help people be able to keep up with the bills by paying it on a monthly basis, because we found that waiting quarterly, sometimes people didn't have all the money and then they'd be behind on their taxes, and so that we were seeing more difficulties with people keeping their homes because they were behind on their taxes. Have I got that right?
That was part of the problem. It was collections, because the bills were every single quarter. Lots of people were skipping quarters because they knew the city couldn't shut water off during the winter months. And, you know, the thing that people don't realize is we don't have a water plant. We buy our water from the city of Detroit, from their water plant, Great Lakes Water Authority, and we resell it to the residents. If we don't have the money to purchase water, we can't have water to furnish to the residents. It's as simple as that. So I want to say that we were at best 6 years ago 60% funded on our water purchases and our water revenue. So that has helped bring in cash quicker so that we can purchase water. We have tried things to automate that process with monthly billings, with the estimated billings until we get all the meters read, but COVID just, I want to say, postponed all that. We're going to get back on track, but COVID set a lot of things behind. You know, we're trying to come out of that hole right now. But that's where we're at.
Councilman Jennings?
Yeah, just really quick, something short and sweet. Ambets Post across the street will be having a craft show on the 26th of this month from 10 to 3, and there's still tables available if anyone wants to rent them. The number's on the bulletin board out front. Other than that, I got nothing.
Councilwoman Williams?
Good evening, everyone. I have just three things. One, I got a cold right now, so. It's really good to see everyone face to face, because face to face, we hear a lot more responses from our audience members when we were doing this online in the last couple of months. And through call to audience, we get only a couple of people that would respond. But like tonight, there were several people that had questions or concerns. So I'm very glad that we are back now to face, because we get much more interaction with our audience, and we get to hear much more of what's concerning you. Number two is, I know there's a lot of concerns with speeders zooming throughout our city, and people just disrespecting our roads and our residents when they're doing that. And of course, it's a very dangerous situation. I would hope that maybe one day we would get back to the point like when, back in the past, if you were driving on Mack Avenue and you passed Connors, and you were sitting between Connors heading towards Ross, everyone knew when you got to that point on Mack Avenue, you must slow down, because you were crossing through the Grosse Pointes. And there's 5 Grosse Pointes, so as you cross through the Grosse Pointes, everyone knew, slow down, because there was consequences to be had if you speeded through or did anything within that area. I hope that Harper Woods can get back to that, so that people will respect coming through Kelly Road, because we have 2 schools. I mean, not Kelly Road, Beaconsfield. We have 2 schools on Beaconsfield. And it is dangerous when people are speeding through and purposefully not trying to pay attention, or even coming off those side streets. I know I go to work early in the morning. I'm out at 7 o'clock in the morning. I turn on Beaconsfield, and I'm heading towards Ross. I see cars coming off those side streets. They don't even look. They just pull around out, zooming down the street. And I'm thinking to myself, one morning, I mean, I hope it's not me, but I hope, I can see there's going to be an accident, because people are not paying attention. They're not even trying to, which is the problem. So, I hope that in the future something can be done about that. I'm not exactly sure what we have plans for, but definitely something do need to be done. And my third point was make sure as a council we're getting back to our audience members when they have questions. It has to be followed up in future sessions. There was a question about the ambulatory service from an audience member 2 sessions ago. And I can email you the exact question so we can get a good response.
I have them here.
You do?
I have them here. I tried to contact the executive from MedStar, and I just was not successful today, but I'm very much on top.
Remember, John just got from vacation.
Yeah, I had 233 emails, and I just got through all of them, and it's going to take me another week to dig out of the hole.
Okay.
I haven't forgotten you here.
All right.
Okay.
I know I hear it in my ear all the time. What was the answer to that question? I'm like, I don't know yet until, it comes to the council.
Here it is, right here.
And that's it. So I'm glad I can see you all in person, and I'm glad that you are participating, asking us questions so that we know your concerns. Thank you.
All right. Okay, well, I have the last word. And first of all, like Mr. Hakeem said earlier, I was so glad and happy to see the movement going with Eastland Project, the demolishing of Target, so that means that we are on time, on target. All right. Anyway, so we're moving forward, and it's going to be a beautiful thing once we have everything all in place. Mr. Marcini Maniaci is going through right now, and he has a list of all the businesses that he's been in contact with in order to form a business association for the city of Copper Woods. So we're moving forward with that. He had a funeral today, so he wasn't able to make it here. So, but next meeting he should have a progress report for us. With the speed bumps, I'm sure Bill is going to look into that. I don't know. See, Detroit does not plow their streets only when it's 6 inches and above. I think, is that right, Bill? 6 and above, or is it 8 and above? 6 and above inches do they plow their streets. We plow our streets every time there's a snowfall. And that is one of the reasons why we have to be careful of how and where we place those speed bumps, because we either tear up the speed bumps or we tear up the equipment. So we're trying to find a happy medium for that. I understand what you're saying, but we're waiting for our report in order to know which is best for us on a daily basis. Because if we have snow 4 times a week, our guys are out there 4 times a week plowing the streets of Copper Woods. So it's a difference. Also, as I spoke earlier about the historical commission that we will be forming. So look forward to that, and any archives or anything that you may have that you feel will be necessary. As soon as we get this historical commission up and running, then you'll be welcome to become a part of it, to add your historical effects or whatever. Like you said, you've been here 50-some years, or some people have been here 70 years. Whatever it is, we want everyone to have a part in documenting the historical values of Copper Woods. That's very important. Let's see. Okay, we have committee reports that the people that have requested to be on different committees will have an interview in the next few weeks, and they will be interviewed for the committees that they have submitted for. And then out of the interview committee, then we will select the people for the different committees. So we're moving forward. It's a slow motion, but I don't do anything in a real hurry, except for talk sometimes. But anyway, and let's see. Oh, I've been involved with electric stations. So we're trying to figure out where we could place electric stations around the city for electric cars. And then hopefully we'll be able to get electric cars for our police department, and to save us a lot of money. And so that's something that we're kind of working with right now. I will get with, I hear you about the speeding. It drives me crazy. Nothing makes me no madder than driving down Beaconsfield and somebody passed me on my left-hand side or on my right-hand side, whichever way I'm going. It just makes me very, very angry, because Beaconsfield is a small street in essence, and for cars to race down there at 50 to 60 or even 70 miles an hour, it's just ludicrous. And I understand we're going to give our new director an opportunity to get everything all together, and then we're going to have a conversation as to how we can combat this. We can't do it all with speed bumps. We have to do it with enforcement. And I remember a time when you dare not go down Beaconsfield doing anything more than 25 miles an hour. And, you know, and we must get that back out. We must make people understand that you will be penalized for not adhering to the speed regulations in our city. It's not just our city. I tell you, I have been everywhere. I've been up in Lansing. I see people just running red light. I said, what the hell? I'm sitting at the light. They just go right on past. And I said, are they a policeman or is some kind of emergency or something? No. It's just people that don't want to follow rules and regulations. And so we have to penalize those people to make them understand that you're going to follow the rules and regulations in our city of Harper Woods. And whatever you do outside of the city of Harper Woods, that's on you. But from now on, everyone is going to understand that you cannot run through and race through our city. And believe me, you will see the results of this as soon as we implement the changes we want to make. Count my words. That's one of my pet peeves. And especially when I see people racing around the schools and have no regards for children, because children don't pay attention a lot of time. And you see a speeding car come by. No. But we're just not going to have it. We're going to stop it. And it'll take all of us to stop it. I wish there was some way that we could do citizens arrest or take a picture of a car, but you can't do that either. It's not legal, right?
In Michigan, it's not legal.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time for us to get in touch with our
Representatives and stuff. You're passing all these crazy laws, you know, that benefit businesses and other entities. Why not pass laws to benefit us? But the only way we can make those kind of changes is when we contact our state representatives and our legislators and our congresspeople and make them do things that benefit us, not what big business need or somebody else's left or right. No, do what's for the best for the people. So if we all take our voices and make them heard, then we'll get changes. And so, also, the committees that we are all a part of, okay, for the ordinance committee, we have Councilwoman Constantino, Councilwoman Sawicki, and Councilwoman Pies. For the beautification, we have Councilman Jennings, wasn't it? And Councilwoman Pies. For the charter committee, we have Councilwoman Pies, Councilwoman Sawicki, and Councilwoman Williams. For recreation is Councilman Toussaint and Councilwoman Mayor Kendall. And the reason that I decided to be on the recreation because I am going to try my darndest to bring a recreational center here. And so I guess I have to be a part of the committee for recreation in order for us to have a building for recreation, which will also, I hope, to house our historical museum area. So that's my dream, is to bring a recreational center here in Harperwood. We don't have one. We needed one so badly during the pandemic, but we've always shared space with the school and the library. And then the library was, you know, unfortunately had the incident with the flooding, and the schools were closed down for the pandemic. So our people had no real place for recreation. And that's when it made me acutely aware that we needed to have our own standalone recreational center. So there's monies everywhere. We're going to try to make sure we grab all the monies that we can to make sure that we have a Harper Woods recreational center. That's my goal. Lofty as it is, but that's my goal. The interview committee, Councilwoman Constantino, Councilman Jennings, and Mayor Kendall. city council on that committee because we also have public safety director, acting city manager, and city clerk, all a part of that. Plus, we will have two, or is it three? Two citizens will be there along with our chaplain, our police chaplain. And so the interviews, we will interview all the people that's submitted, was interested in working on the different committees. And then we will be rolling. So if you have not, and you choose to be a part, or would like to be a part of these different committees and commissions, please go to the website and send an email to City Clerk Leslie Franks. Mrs. Franks will be glad to take your information, and we will include you in the interviews, which we will be doing very shortly. So if you want to do it, don't wait. Hurry up, submit your names. And with that,
Yes, Mayor. Madam Mayor, I'd like to make the motion for adjournment.
all in favor?